Title, Reborn, I make the scum Alpha Cuckolded. Brief. In my past life, I was nothing more than a shadow to him. The Alpha, cold and distant, kept me at arm's length. He was obsessed with his so-called white moonlight, an idealized image of someone who could never be mine. I was never seen, never cared for. And in the end, it cost me everything. My love for him, blind, foolish, unconditional, led to my death. He never noticed my sacrifice, never saw how I withered in silence for him. The day I died, my love for him was all that remained, but it meant nothing. I meant nothing. But now I am reborn. I stand before him, no longer the fragile, desperate woman he ignored. I made him cuckolded. Never let that filthy woman Elisa into my apartment. The words echoed in my mind, sharp, venomous, dripping with disdain. But no one knows my secret. No one feels the overwhelming joy bubbling inside me. I've been reborn. I stand at the threshold of a new life, the same day, Nicola's Luna ceremony. The day my fate was sealed. In everyone's eyes, I was unworthy of him. He was a white wolf, the noblest of lichens. And I? An orphan, a commoner from a forgotten pack. Our lives had been tangled by a childhood jest. An innocent promise that cursed us both for over 2 decades. I remember it all, his face, disgusted. You're nothing. You'll never be my Luna. No one sympathized with him. But they pitied him. And even he despised me. Elisa, it's not that we won't let you in. It's Alpha Nicola's orders. The words stung, sharp as a blade, and the guard's glares were colder than the wind biting at my skin. Be smart, Elisa. Don't make this harder on us, or on yourself. The burly figures flanked the entrance like stone walls, their electric batons raised. The air around us crackled, thick with tension. Everyone knew Nicola hated me. And now, I was here again, in this cursed moment, the one I never thought I'd return to. In my previous life, I hadn't made it past this very gate. The guards had stared at me, dispassionate, but he never came. Nicola's parents had been furious when they found out, their anger a storm. But their fury hadn't saved me. Instead, it had pushed them to hurry the marriage, pushing me closer to the fate that awaited. But our wedding? It was nothing like the fairy tale they expected. On the morning of the ceremony, Nicola's beloved, the white moon, the one he cherished above all else, had thrown herself off a cliff. The moment was etched in my mind like a cruel twist of fate. And in his eyes, I was the one to blame. The one who drove her to her death. From that day forward, my life was no longer mine. It was a descent into hell. Every step, every breath, was laced with the venom of his hatred. Nicola, with his cold gaze and cruel smirk, dedicated himself to making me suffer. His punishments were ruthless, silent treatments that clawed at my sanity, public humiliations that crushed my spirit, and violence that left invisible scars. He gathered his inner circle, those who hated me as much as he did, and they made a game of tormenting me. I begged for release countless times. Let me go, I would plead, my voice hoarse and my soul broken. End this. Break our bond. But his response was always the same. I'll drag you down to hell with me, if I have to. And he did. But now? This time, I won't wait for his parents' pity, nor will I endure his vengeance. Because this time, I'm not here to be his Luna. I'm here to shatter his throne. Under countless astonished gazes, I turned and walked away, my steps steady, my heart free of regret. Back in Nicola's quarters, I stripped off the cumbersome gown, a symbol of my servitude to him, Alpha Nicola. Everyone knew me as his pathetic devotee. Wherever his name was uttered, I was the fool who went 10 steps further to ensure his life was flawless. He'd once complained about the exhaustion of work, mentioning he longed to visit the lavender fields of southern France. So, I meticulously planned a trip, aligning perfectly with his schedule, even though I knew in my heart he'd never take me. And I was right. When the day came, Nicola took Sasha instead. I wasn't invited as a partner but commanded to tag along, as their servant. I still remember that stormy night. The downpour was relentless, the road slick with rain. Sasha's bag had fallen out of the car, and Nicola, with his signature icy authority, ordered me to retrieve it. I barely stepped onto the road when a car struck me. The agony was unimaginable. 6 months in the hospital, teetering between life and death, abandoned by the one I had sacrificed everything for. That helplessness, that descent into darkness, I would never allow it to happen again. Leaving Nicola was the first step to reclaiming my life. Without hesitation, I packed my things and grabbed my documents. As I made my way downstairs, the front doors slammed open, and there he was, Alpha Nicola, storming in with his perfect suit and searing aura of dominance. The moment his piercing eyes landed on me, his lips curled into a mocking sneer. Without a word, he grabbed my suitcase and flung it to the floor. "What are you doing?" I demanded, my voice sharp. His voice was colder. "The real question is, Elisa, what are you doing?" He crossed his arms, glaring down at me as if I were a petulant child. "Running away from home? How old are you?" My breath hitched as his expression darkened. "Or are you planning to leave another suicide note to manipulate me?" He spat, his voice laced with disdain. The accusation hit me like a slap. "Who told you I wanted to die?" I shot back, incredulous. Nicola's laughter was bitter, his tone cutting. "Don't act innocent. You're the one who left that pathetic note before, threatening to jump if you didn't get your way." Memories surged, fragments of the past I had buried deep. After Nicola and Sasha became an item, I had, in a moment of rage and despair, left that message. The fallout had been catastrophic. Nicola's mother, Sarah, had panicked and forced him to break things off with Sasha. Since then, his hatred for me had only deepened. He ignored my pain, allowed Sasha and her clique to bully me, and treated me like a plague he couldn't escape. But that was the old Elisa. Now, I met Nicola's glare with unwavering eyes. "I never planned to die." "You're overthinking it."